dream is green. And I don't mean material things. Freedom to the land, child, woman, and man. As we take up for what we stand. Better days and better nights. As we stand and unite. We're one and the same. Why is it so hard not to point and to blame? Better sheet, get our houses in order and we'll see the peace. There are steps that we must take if we wanna see.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us.
The sake of us, the sake of us.
I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. No more failing, telling, being beneath. What a beautiful moment, and a sight I can't wait to see. Even if I miss it, at least I was a part of the mission. Changing lives of men, women, and children. All glory goes to He that causes us all to be. Oh, and if they're thinking we can, we show them that just as long as we stand. A monument, we the people can't be broken as long as we stay focused. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. For the sake of us. I see my people rising, no more stopping us. A couple billion acres across America, us. The peace rose for the sake of us. I see my people rising, yeah.
Shalom, shalom, everyone. Testing, shalom, shalom. Peace of you all. I am Chief Prince Shema Nasi Karashi Shema of House of Balance Assembly. Today is the Writings of Wisdom. We typically do it on Mondays and Wednesdays. Apologies for missing the last one, but just know that if we do miss it, the very next one that we will be doing is on that following, the next day, whether it's Monday or Wednesday. All right, so what is the Writings of Wisdom? What we plan to do is to go through, for those that's new to this, go through the history, the literature that was deemed writings that further elaborated on what the righteous culture was in that time, in ancient times for Bnei Yisrael. And also even in their captive states, their captivities and their exilic moments, you often will have individuals that would write certain things, principles, to expound a little bit more for those that weren't familiar with it, but yet still were a part of the bloodline. So what we want to do is travel through it. And we have been in the book of Proverbs, since Proverbs is one of the main sources of what we call wisdom. So we have traveled so far up until chapter 13. All right. We have traveled up until chapter 13. Give me a second. Let me share it a little bit. For those that's tuning in later, if you haven't done so yet, make sure that you like it and that you share it. And if you haven't also, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you subscribe. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We stopped at verse, I want to say 6 or 7 of Proverbs 13 when I think we did Proverbs 12 and we ended up all the way to Proverbs 13 and 6. So we're just going to go right through this chapter. We shouldn't be long. We shouldn't be going after this chapter, but it is one particular verse I wanted to kind of just bring out a little bit, traveling to the cultural aspect of it. What was the reason, or what can we see consistently being part of the reason as to why this is spoken in this way? Because the very first verse is talking about, let's go to it really quickly. It says, a wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. So even here in this particular moment of time and this subject, a scoffer does not listen to the rebuke even of his father. But what is deemed as so, right? So we have a father right here, a wise son accepts his father's discipline, but a scoffer does not listen to rebuke. So who is this scoffer? Can this scoffer be addressed as the son? Because the context of that particular verse is talking about a son and his father. So let's keep going. We'll tackle that in 1 minute. Let me pull this up on the screen. All right. So Proverbs 13 and 6, it says, righteousness guards the one whose way is blameless, right? So righteousness guards the one whose way is blameless. We're going to always run into this, especially with David and even Solomon before Solomon or Shlomo's fall. You're going to see him talk about blamelessness often. We have seen him mention this countless times up until this chapter 13, which should be questioned. Like, why is he saying it? Did he believe this? Did he believe that someone could be blameless, right? And if so, where did we go wrong in today's time, right? It says, so righteousness guards one whose way is blameless. So their focus is to be righteous. Their focus each and every moment of their path, of their journey, they're pressing to stay righteous. And that's what births or bring forth that blamelessness in the sight of the supreme king or the culture, right? But wickedness brings the sinner to ruin. There is one who pretends to be rich but has nothing. Another pretends to be poor but has great wealth. We see that today. We see like the richest individuals, they don't even look like they have any money because of the things that they're wearing. And then those of us who, have nice clothes and all these different things, but struggling, right? So there's one who pretends to be rich but has nothing. Another pretends to be poor but has great wealth. The ransom of a person's life is his wealth, but the poor hears no rebuke. The light of the righteous rejoices, but the lamp of the wicked goes out, right? So those who may be deemed wicked in the Supreme King's eyes, oftentimes they don't even see their light going out, right? They think everything is radiant, everything is going in that direction. The light is amongst them. We hear a lot of people saying, well, the Most High talked to me, or people say God, or all these different things because of what's happening or what they're doing in their lives. But we don't understand that scripturally speaking, this is dealing with morals. Most of everything that we read is dealing with your character, your integrity, your moral, right? It's not dealing with specifically finances, even prosperity. When it says prosperity in some of these translations, it's not necessarily talking about finances, although finances is very important. We understand that. But if you look at the whole common denominator throughout the whole history, the Tanakh, any literature that we produce, it's always talking about our character, our integrity, our moral compass. That's the main thing. 95% of that we read about is that, right? So through overconfidence comes nothing but strife. But wisdom is with those who receive counsel. So it's not necessarily saying if you're overconfident that this is what it's going to produce. the context says, but wisdom is with those who receive counsel. So overconfidence is not taking any counsel. No one can tell you nothing. No other man, no other woman, no individual that you claim to be a part of. A lot of people don't believe in camps, don't believe in organizations, don't believe in those things outside of work and business and friends. But they believe in it when it comes to work and business and friends. But when it comes to serving the Supreme King, we move alone. And we're going to see something in the 25th verse when we get there, 24th, 25th verse. But it says, though through overconfidence comes nothing but strife. We see that throughout social media. There are many of us on this path and or outside of this path that reject community, that reject structure, that reject tribes. So we're overconfident, right? And then what does it produce? It produces strife. But wisdom is with those who receive counsel. So think about it. Even if you are a part of a group or individuals, men and women, that is a camp. We might have to reword our verbiage when it comes to camp. But if you are putting yourself amongst people, you are meeting up, you are talking, you all are building, you are a camp. You are some form of congregation. You are a form of assembly. Now, are you, have any registry or pedigree? Maybe not. But it's that. Are you leading yourselves? Are you putting yourself in the seat of what people say, seat of Moses and all? Yeah, you probably are, more than likely, right? But that's hard to hear because that's foreign. But if you are gathering together, that's what it becomes. All right. And then if you do gather together, you have to make sure that you have some wise counsel, because all information is not good information. All understanding is not good understanding. We're going to read that in a minute. So when we read in Proverbs and it say to you, not lean on your own understanding, right? And everybody utilizes that. There is a such thing as good understanding and bad understanding. All right, let's keep going. So it says, wealth obtained from nothing dwindles, but one who gathers by labor increases it. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but desire fulfilled is a tree of life. One who despises the word will do badly, but one who fears the commandment will be rewarded. Right? So why is that important? I mean, if we don't even want to harp so much on our literature, just in general, instructions when we do good at work, when we do good in school, when we do good at whatever, there were instructions that was given to you, and there's reward at the end of that. If you complete it, if you pursue it, if you stay on that path, you get rewarded, right? So one who despises the word will do badly. Typically, someone that's given the word is more has a stronger foundation than you. There's more seasoned, more experience than you. And whatever that may be. But this is not talking about everything, but I'm trying to bring out and make it simplified for those that push away from things like commandments. Even those in our community, we say commandments, laws, and statutes, but yet we push away from the very part that brings forth community. We push away from it because of what we done been through, what we have caused, or what we was a part of that was causing destruction, lack of structure. All these different things is what caused it. So now we make ourselves aloof from the community, which is totally against Torah. That is totally, for those of us that claim to be Bnei Israel, that is against our constitution, our structure, our royal Torah law. It's against it. And that's why many times at some point you're going to fail. At some point you're going to fail. When it comes to relationships, when it comes to needing help, when it comes to whatever, you're going to fail simply because of that. So wherever you at, whoever you know in your city or your state, I encourage you to get and be a part of someone that you deem righteous. And it has to be a righteous deeming too, if that makes sense, deeming, right? It has to be, because a lot of times we'll say, oh man, this brother is good or this woman is good. It's just because they're doing things that we like to do. or they have the same thought process in this particular subject like we do. But we're not looking at their character, their integrity. We're not looking at none of that. We want to be a part of something because it's out there, because it's big, it's known, it's growing. But no one's holding anyone's one accountable. And most of us is not keeping what we believe. It can be through ignorance or because of ignorance of not truly understanding, or it can just be because, look, we're part of America. We're not going to say that, but we can put one foot in, one foot out. We can still do what we want. Everything, biblically speaking, from those that was righteous, it was structure, it was order, it was accountability. And we're going to read that in verse 23, Proverbs 13:23, in just 1 second. That was a part of it to the T. So we're picking and choosing. 14 says, the teaching of the wise is a fountain of life, to turn aside from the snares of death. Good understanding, right? Look at that. Good understanding produces favor, but the way of the treacherous is their own disaster. So lean not on your own understanding. Well, your own understanding may be bad understanding, and you may not know it. But it was particularly saying good understanding. Let's see if the Hebrew agrees with it, though. Because sometimes translations, yep, there we go. Shachel Tob. So we have this right here. Tob. For those that know, right? So good understanding produces favor, but the way of the treacherous is their own disaster. Every prudent person acts with knowledge, but a fool displays foolishness. And it's interesting how this word fool is being used. Right? When you go to Psalms 14, it says, the fool says in his heart that there is no Elohim. And you keep going down. He said he looked down on them, couldn't find one that was righteous. You keep going down, it says, and they come against my righteous ones. This is even dealing with Bnei Yisrael. This ain't dealing with just other people outside of us. Because it's saying, but a fool displays foolishness. So this fool would have to still be attached to the fool that's in Psalms 14. No, I believe in the Most High. No, if you believe in the Most High, there's a certain structure, there's a certain custom, righteous custom that it needs to be implemented. Now, a lot of us are doing the best that we can, or the best that we know. We can do better. And one of the smartest things, the things that was given to us in every exilic moment, I say this every Shabbat, and I'm going to continue to say it, is Jeremiah 29. Jeremiah 29 gives us the blueprint on how to move. So I'm going to always sound redundant on that because I have to stress that, and I have to combat what we're all seeing throughout social media, right? Or just in life in general. So it says, but a fool displays foolishness. It is foolish to not believe in the Supreme King Yah. Well, I believe in him. Joshua felt the same way. He said this. He was thinking the same way I'm thinking now, right? I'm trying to give you all order. I'm trying to give you all structure. I'm trying to give you all this, what is the word? Shebet. We're going to find out what that word is, right? But if you feel what I'm giving you is wrong, you go ahead and do what your forefathers and mothers was doing. Go serve, go out there, because you're not going to, but me and my home, we're going to serve. So they would have been dealing, those individuals that was foolish. And they were Bnei Yisrael. They was Israelites. Just like us. But they didn't like the order that Joshua was bringing forth. Let's keep going. So every prudent person acts with knowledge, but a fool displays foolishness. A wicked messenger falls into adversity, right? But a faithful messenger brings healing. I like this part. I think we're going to go down to 21 because we're going to bring out adversity again. Because the first thing that people think of when they think of adversity, sometimes a lot of people, I mean, we see that example with Job. They saw what was happening to Job, and you had to be doing something wrong. So every adversity does not mean that you are wicked or something is wrong, right? This man had one of the worst adversities that we have seen in the scriptures, Job. But at the end, he produced healing to the companions that was supposed to be there for him. but wasn't. How did he produce healing? Because the Most High asked or told them to go ask him to pray for them, to pray on their behalf, because what they were saying was wrong, right? So a wicked messenger falls into adversity, but a faithful messenger brings healing. Poverty and shame will come to one who neglects discipline. Look at that. Poverty and shame will come to one who neglects discipline. This, shalom, shalom to you. Shalom, shalom. This does not necessarily, see, when we think of poverty and prosperity, the first thing we're thinking of is just riches. It says poverty and shame. That shame is very important. That verbiage right there is very important. Will come to one who neglects discipline, because you can have someone, man and or woman alike, that's disciplined, and something can still transpire. But in the end, things shall progress at some capacity. Our time is not the Most High's time often, right? But it says, but one who complies with rebuke will be honored. Desire realized is sweet to the soul, but it is an abomination to fools to turn away from evil. We see that example when Joshua said what he said. It is an abomination to fools to turn away from evil. One of the first things we should ask ourselves or think about, okay, what is evil? What is evil? What does it mean? Well, the very person we're reading about, who's talking right now, literally, I'm going to take us to a verse once we get done with this. In 1 Kings, he was literally, 1 Kings chapter 11, it should be, he was literally spoken of doing evil. Solomon. Evil in the Most High's eyes from what he did. Not at this point right now when we're reading, but if we want to find out what evil is, just find out through the scriptures all the moments, all the times that the Supreme King deemed us as such. And then we might see that what we're doing today, a lot of us, even in this path, is evil. Because I don't have time to go over it right now. But we may bring it out one day. One who walks with wise people will be wise, but a companion of fools will suffer harm. Adversity pursues sinners. So we know Job or Eeyore wasn't a sinner. According to scripture, says he was perfect. But he had adversity, a lot of it. So that wasn't the case for him. That's the point I was bringing out from verse 17. That wasn't the case for him. So when we're just seeing people going through things, sometimes that doesn't necessarily mean that they are sinners. You have to look at how they are, right? How they operating on a daily. How are they operating with the Supreme King's people? How are they operating with the Supreme King? All that matters. All right. But the righteous will be rewarded with prosperity. A good person leaves an inheritance to his grandchildren, and the wealth of a sinner is stored up for the righteous. This should be the goal that many of us do. You know, not necessarily just our children, but even for the grandchildren. It should be things that you're trying to do, that you're trying to put in place to benefit them. Today is a little different than back then, but it still is a lot of equal directions we can go to still do the same thing. A lot of this was dealing with like land and livestock and all these different things, making sure that they were good. But today we got to make sure we figure that out, you know. And here's another thing right here. A good person. We got to understand context. There's other passages that say that no one's good, right? It's only one that's good. But in our culture, we understood that there were good people. If that's being said, it has to be context with it. And we have to understand why it's being said. All right. But that's another topic. Let's keep going. We get into the meat right now. It's three more verses, I believe, but it's two verses I want to pull out. So verse 23 says, abundant food is in the uncultivated ground of the poor, but it is swept away by injustice. All right. We was talking about justice a lot. In the last teaching, we was bringing it out. Each one of us actually was bringing forms of it out. But justice is simply balance, being balanced in your judgment and how you're dealing with someone that is of great stature, of lower stature. Are you being fair to both? Are you dealing with each one of them similarly or the same way in some capacity? Or are you showing favor to one of them over the other? Right? These are simple things actually that's within our Torah that we make missteps with, right? We don't even focus on those things. We're focused on so many. I had a conversation a couple a Sabbaths ago with Amore, and we were talking about so many different topics, and I'm like, look, we got to focus on our integrity, our character, our morals. We got to focus on that. In our community, we're focused on all information. That's it. Well, not that's it, but that's for the most part. We're trying to battle information, but yet how we move, actually live, doesn't even compare to what we are supposed to be doing. Not even close. But we're still trying to gain so much knowledge, and that's what's causing us to fail as a people anyway. Right? Knowledge is good, but if our homes are messed up, if our community is messed up, what is it really doing? Here we go. 24. So these are the two verses I was trying to get to. And before I get there, I want to go to a few places. All right, let me pull this up real quick. It's just going to be one verse. Each place I take us is one verse. Matter of fact, I'll use this. We'll come back to Proverbs 13. So the first place is going to be Deuteronomy 1 and 13. 1 and 13. All right, here we go. So it says, obtain for yourselves men who are wise. I think this is important right here. How can I alone endure the burden and weight of you and your strife? This was Moshe, if I'm not mistaken. He was just telling the moments what was going on with his father-in-law, what was told to him, blah, blah, blah. Obtain for yourselves men who are wise, discerning, and informed from your tribes, and I will appoint them as your heads, right? Check this out, though. Let's go to the Hebrew. I want you all to see this. All right. So right here, there's a prefix and a suffix right here. Typically, when you have like a yod after this this particular noun, right? Think of like children or son, Bain, or if you're talking about a group of people, B'nai Yisrael, right? Children of Israel, sons of Israel. So this is what this is right here. But this word right here, it says Leshibtecha, or Techim, forgive me, Techim. So this is your tribes. This word, pay attention to this word. This word is Shebet. Shebet. But it changes and shifts when you bring prefix, bring suffix, it tends to shift. Right, vocalization can change when you do that. But Shebet, pay attention to that word. That word is tribe. All right, that word in this context is tribe. Let's go to Joshua. We was talking about Joshua. Let's go to Joshua 3 and 12. All right. It says, now then, take for yourselves 12 men from the tribes of Israel, one man for each tribe. Let's click on it again. I know some of you may not know Hebrew or the Aramaic block script. Maybe you know Paleo script, but I don't have that right here. But look at this. Where are we at? Right here. So from the tribes of Israel, right? So Meshibte Yisrael Ish echad la shabet, right? This the form or the vocalization change when you have that prefix, but this is still shebet, the word for tribe. All right, the word for tribe, shebet. Okay, so let's go one more place. 1 Kings 11. I'm getting somewhere, you all. Bear with me. We're getting somewhere. So now it says, yet I will not tear away all the kingdom. This is dealing with Shlomo. But I will give, or Solomon, I will give one tribe to your son for the sake of my servant David and for the sake of Jerusalem, which I have chosen. So in this chapter, it's talking about Solomon, what he did, taking on the foreign wives, all these different things that was evil in the sight of the Most High. But this word right here, again, let's click on it. This word is right here, Shebet, same word, tribe. So this is the word for tribe, all right? One of the most consistent words used for tribe. Let's go back to Proverbs 13 and 24. All right, so this is one of the most famous verses that was used in Christianity. Even those of us here, says, he who withholds, right, his rod hates his son. Don't spare the child, basically, right? So he who withholds his rod hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines him diligently, right? This word right here, rod, let's click on it. This word, where is it at? Right here. Shipto. So Shebet is the word. Shipto, when you have a vowel right here, that's going to be his. So this word, we've been seeing that Shebet is a word for tribe in all the different areas I took us to. It's about 140 times. 140 times is for tribe. You have it as scepter. You have it as rod. And there's one more. It's a shepherd, staff, scepter, tribe, rod. But the most usage is tribe. Why is that important here? You have this word, musar, as well. Let's click off of it. So the righteous, he who withholds his rod hates his son. He who withholds or keeps back, I will put, rod is okay. It's not wrong. You can actually put tribe here too. Why am I saying you can? All right. But he who loves him disciplines him diligently. So this word is musar. Musar is dealing with, it doesn't necessarily have to be disciplined in a way of like whooping, beating. It's guiding, instructing. So he who withholds his rod, or you could say tribe, hates his son. Why? A lot of people that done got beat in our community, whooped, all these different things, but they still end up going the wrong way. Why? Because they found their tribe. They found a different group of people that they was around more, they liked, they had fun with, other than their family. And that tribe didn't have the same moral compass, integrity, or character, and they still went left. In our community, so it's saying he who withholds his rod hates his son. I'll put tribe there. Why do you hate your son? But he who loves him guides or instructs him diligently. You have, say if it's a man or a young boy, this boy, his biggest influence is not going to be his father. That sounds crazy. It's not going to be his parents, even though they are the forefront. They're the start. It's going to be those that they are around. This is why I believe this word, Shebet, is being used here. Because a tribe of other men, uncles, cousins, groups of men that are righteous is important for this not to happen, for the things that we see in our community. Shebet, right? So rod is cool. I would even translate it as tribe. Let's keep going. But the righteous has enough to satisfy his appetite. Why? Because he or she is around other men and or women that have great character, integrity, motivates, right? Holds each other accountable. So their appetite is satisfied. Their appetite for a tribe or a community is satisfied. We go looking outside because we're not satisfied within. So he who withholds his tribe hates his son. If you're really trying to do it only by yourself, you may not say, I hate my son. But if we love our children, we're going to do what Jeremiah 29, we're going to marry our children with children. All right, build ye houses, build network, so that way we can be satisfied in a community. In this world right now, we're not satisfied. We're not growing and building with individuals that's walking in the way. A lot of people say way all the time, but walking how we should be walking. It's going to be people that's going to leave regardless. But for those that's truly looking, they need to be satisfied. So this Shebet is very important. Very important. Tribe. We're supposed to be putting a tribe together, a community together, so that we can be satisfied. But the righteous has enough to satisfy his appetite. But guess what? But the stomach of the wicked is in need. Why are they in need? Why are these two verses right next to each other? He who withholds his rod hates his son, right? Or tribe. But he who loves him instructs him and guide him. So those people that are a part of the tribe is going to all be there to guide, to instruct, not just discipline in a way that most of us think this is saying. Guide, instruct, reprimand righteously. But the wicked is in need because they're not being fed. Even when they're amongst other people that's not guiding them properly, they're not being fed because they're steady continuing to be depleted, hurting, falling. So we're going to close out with that, you all. We just went through Proverbs 13, 7, 25 through 25. I just wanted to bring that out. I thought that was very interesting when I looked at the Hebrew word there. All right. So just to bring it to a close. So Shebet is used in several spheres of authority. A tribe, right? Shebet, authority over a covenant people. All right. A scepter, authority of a king. That word is Shebet, same word. A rod, authority of discipline. And a shepherd's staff, authority to guide and protect. And that is what the whole purpose of all of this is for. What we're supposed to do, guide and protect one another. Those are not random meanings. They all revolve around a common idea, delegated authority exercised within an ordered covenant community. All right. So we're going to go ahead and close out. If you have missed this, you could go back and watch it. Make sure you all share it if you haven't done so already. Subscribe and like or not like. We come on Mondays and Wednesdays. These are the days that typically the writings of wisdom. I do this segment. Of course, we have Shabbat on every Saturday, Yom Shabbat at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just tap in, just subscribe, and you'll be able to keep in touch with us whenever we go live. Another thing, if you all are interested in Hebrew, go ahead and come on over to LashonInstitute.org. It's free to join. It is a app. Well, you would have to, if you are using an iPhone or Droid, you'll just have to go to your Safari or wherever you go to, and you would have to go to share when you're on your Safari. Once you're on the site, because it's on a web browser on your phone and a web browser on your desktop, but you can make it an app. So you would share whatever screen that you're on and then add it as a home page. And when you do that, it'll be an app on your phone. The website is Lashon Institute. Here it is right here. Lashon Institute. LashonInstitute.org. Go ahead and give it a try. You'll be able to go through a few lessons, a few immersion lessons, a couple of them before you would have to go for it if you decided to go for it. But it's focusing on you learning the Hebrew language. It maintains the integrity of all the root words versus new words that we may have in modern Hebrew today. It maintains the root. We're continuing to build on it. We'll continue to grow within it. It's good for families to join. It's like, consider Duolingo or Monthly Languages. It's that on steroids as far as what it offers. It's the beginning stages, but You know, it has translator on there you could utilize. It has you could generate synthesis of words that you're learning. No app does it, you know, so we're just in the beginning stages right now. So go ahead and join with us, grow with us, build with us, and grow in your language learning. All right. Without further ado, I pray that you all have a great rest of your day, and may the Most High bless and guard each and one of you in righteousness. Shalom, shalom.
In need of a healing, healing. The broken come before you, Most High Creator, in need of a breakthrough from what this world has drug us through. And many just don't know how to go about it. Many don't know where to start. But sincerely we ask you to heal our hearts.
Asking for your healing, please. Asking for your healing, please. Life is turning often like a ceiling fan, really fast. Most I won't you slow it down. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. She's gonna show it now. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. Asking for your healing, please. Asking for your healing, please. Life is turning often like a ceiling fan, really fast. Most I won't you slow it down. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. She's gonna show it now. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. A couple decades up in it, I tried to do right, but found myself repeating, not repenting. I didn't choose right. I look back on my younger years, there was no sign of the fear, and I had the nerve to say that you're my king. It was a mistake. How could I say that but didn't serve you? Every chance I got, I would desert you, but I am not the same. It's all for you. Was the best decision made, and it started off from asking for your healing, please. Asking for your healing, please. Life is turning often like a ceiling fan, turning like a fan. Most I won't you slow it down. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. Actions gonna slow it down. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. Asking for your healing, please. Asking for your healing, please.
Life is turning
often like a ceiling fan, really fast. Most I won't you slow it down. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. Actions gonna show it now. I'm humbled facing towards the ground. To our King.